Troy Baker to reunite with Neil Druckmann for Naughty Dog's untitled new game. Wesley Impel over at IGN. Actor Troy Baker is set to star in Naughty Dog's untitled new game. The Sony-owned studio is building a yet-to-be-announced single-player game with Uncharted and The Last of Us chief Neil Druckmann at the helm. Fans know next to nothing about the project, but according to GQ, Troy Baker is signed on to appear in it. Quote, "In a heartbeat, I would always work with Troy," end quote. Druckmann is quoted as saying in the article. Baker famously played Joel in The Last of Us. He also played Sam in Uncharted 4. He's been around for a while, is the biggest thing, right? So that's the coolest part. In December last year, Naughty Dog canceled The Last of Us Online. Its troubled attempt to create a live service version of the popular franchise. At the time, the studio said it would have needed to pull all of its resources into post-launch content for years to come, and that approach would have severely impacted its ability to develop future single-player games. Naughty Dog then went on to confirm that it had more than one ambitious brand new single-player game in the works without revealing anything about them. In June, Druckmann said Naughty Dog was looking to break away from being predominantly associated with The Last of Us. Quote, "I promise you, we will not be The Last of Us studio forever," end quote. Druckmann insisted, speaking of Naughty Dog's beloved post-apocalyptic franchise that debuted in 2013 and received Part 2 sequel in 2020. The studio is otherwise best known for creating the projects like, well, Uncharted. So there's that, where you saw Troy Baker in Uncharted 4 as Nate's brother, and then you get into The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, and now he's back once again. Michael, questions just keep popping though, dude. What is Naughty Dog up to? Is Troy Baker the starring role in the next game?
I feel like we have to assume so, right? Especially if it's getting headlines and that's what they're promoting. Because as you said, right, we know nothing about this game. They've been very quiet, which means we're years away, right? If we don't even have promotional material, 2027's probably like the earliest. I feel like we're going to get it. Yeah, this definitely feels like Troy's going to be the main star, which is funny, right? They're like, we want to get away from The Last of Us, but we're going to bring back one of the main actors from The Last of Us game back again. So curious to see where they go, right? Again, with this delay, could we really have not just had Last of Us Online as you worked on this now delayed single player game? Like, you kept telling us, Naughty Dog, we would be able to get any single player games. Well, guess what? We haven't gotten any single player games. You just keep telling us, just wait, just wait. So I'm hoping for big things, Drew, but this seems like one of those that I'll see in 2027 when maybe we get a teaser trailer.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're wrong there at all, right? I'm hoping we're somewhere in around the 2026 mark, but I think with the delay and then the cancellation of the Last of Us Online component, the resources were split, right? They were trying to figure out, how do we keep this game going? How do we keep it alive? I think if they just would have gave it to another studio, they could have done that. Especially, like, dude, they just shut down studios at Sony. Like, why not branch that over to them? They could have carried that game forever while we dove in waiting for Naughty Dog to create the next single player, right? Allow them to create the game. They had a multiplayer factions though in The Last of Us 1. That's all we really needed, dude. I would have been quite content playing that, going in there, having a good time with you and other people, and then hanging out and just chilling to the world of The Last of Us once again in a multiplayer setting. It was so different when factions dropped compared to anything else we'd really played at the time. So to not have this, definitely a heartbreaker. But to see Troy come back again is nice, because if you know how Troy played out in Last of Us Part 2, there really isn't a comeback for him. so we're now on to other things, to say the least, right? What is it though? Where are they going? I think rumors, if I remember correctly, is that they're gearing towards the fantasy setting. So where are we going now, right? Not sci-fi, thankfully. I'm more of a fantasy guy, I think, than a sci-fi guy at this point. So I'm anxious to get away from the sci-fi, because we've had a lot of that lately. Starfield being one of them, right? So we'll see if we can branch away, get into this fantasy world. What are they building there? If they build and create the drama that they do with Uncharted, with The Last of Us, and combine those into the next fantasy game, dude, I'm pumped. Like, I can't wait to see what that is. And again, single player, Michael. Remember years ago when they said single player was dead? Sony's at the top, dude. And what do they create? They create single player games, right? They canceled the multiplayer game and went still into the single player. Interesting to see that that's where they continue to take their direction. But when you're at the top, you don't mess with the formula that's working at the end of the day.